You are the chairman of Nvidia, the most valuable chip company on the planet. And right now, your biggest customer needs your help. They've asked you for $250 billion. Not a loan, not an investment, a promise that if they can't pay, you will. What? Yeah, read that again. And if you clicked on this video because you saw the number $500 billion, you're probably thinking, wait, that's not what I signed up for. Hold that thought, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why that bigger number and the word trap might both be right. This isn't some made-up scenario. This is real. This is happening right now. And the name of your customer? You've probably used their product this week. This isn't a hypothetical. This is happening right now, 2026. Your customer? It's OpenAI. Yes, the company behind ChatGPT. And Nvidia is reportedly in talks to guarantee up to $250 billion of financing so OpenAI can build the data centers it needs. Not confirmed, not signed, but seriously discussed, reported by the Wall Street Journal days before this video was made. So now the question isn't, is this real? The question is, why would the most successful chip company on Earth put its own name on the line for someone else's bet? Let's slow down for a second. What exactly are you being asked to do here? You're not writing OpenAI a check for $250 billion. That's not what's happening. Here's what's actually going on. OpenAI needs to borrow that money from a bank or a group of investors, real lenders who want their money back with interest. But there's a problem. Those lenders look at OpenAI's finances and they get nervous. OpenAI is losing billions of dollars a year, so the lenders hesitate. They don't fully trust OpenAI to pay them back on its own. That's where you come in. You go to those lenders and say, lend them the money, and if OpenAI can't pay you back, I will. Think of it like co-signing a loan for a friend. Your friend wants to buy a house, but the bank doesn't trust their income enough. So you step in and tell the bank, if they miss a payment, come to me. The bank feels safer, your friend gets the house, and you haven't paid a single rupee yet, but your name is now on the line. That's exactly what a guarantee is. You're not the one giving the money. You're the reason someone else is willing to. So here's your real question. Why would you even say yes to this? Think about it from your side. OpenAI isn't just any customer. It's one of the biggest buyers of the chips you make. If they can't build their data centers, they can't grow. And if they can't grow, they buy less from you. So by backing their loan, you're not doing them a favor for free. You're protecting your own future sales. There's just one catch. You're betting that OpenAI's business works out well enough for long enough to pay off both the loan and everything else riding on it. Say yes, and you help build the very demand that keeps your company growing. Say no, and your biggest customer might not be able to expand at all. Which one would you choose? All right, now let's talk about the question that most people have been itching to get the answer to. How can a company this big, this popular, be losing money? OpenAI isn't struggling because people aren't using their product. ChatGPT is used by hundreds of millions of people every single week. The demand is real. The problem isn't revenue. The problem is cost. Running an AI model like ChatGPT isn't like running a normal app. Every single response, every question you ask it costs real money and computing power. And training the next smarter version costs even more, billions of dollars, just to build one system. So OpenAI is bringing in real money, tens of billions of dollars a year, but it's spending even more than that just to keep the servers running and to keep building the next thing. That's the gap you're being asked to help cover. And that's exactly why OpenAI needs so much outside money, not because their product failed, but because building the future is expensive before it ever pays for itself. Now, here's where things get tricky, because this next part is easy to miss, and it's the part most explainers skip over entirely. But you're not most people. Stay with me. That $250 billion guarantee you just agreed to, that money is only for OpenAI's data center, the building, the construction, the debt behind it. It has nothing to do with the chips you actually sell. But there's a second conversation happening, a separate one, quietly at the same time. Reports suggest you're also discussing financing OpenAI's purchases of your own chips, the very chips that could end up sitting inside that same data center. Smart move, right? If it works. And this number, it's reportedly even bigger than the first one, as high as $350 billion. So now ask yourself, if both of these deals actually go through, how big does your total exposure really get? Because the number on your screen a minute ago wasn't the whole story, and you're just starting to see the real picture. Now here's something you need to realize, and once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. This isn't just happening between you and OpenAI. Look around the industry. Wait, actually look closely, and you'll start noticing the same pattern showing up again and again, just with different names attached to it. Microsoft, for example, they've poured billions into OpenAI, and guess what OpenAI does with a chunk of that money? Spends it right back on Microsoft's own cloud servers. Then there's Oracle. They signed the contract worth hundreds of billions of dollars to provide computing power to OpenAI. But to actually deliver on that promise, Oracle needs to go out and buy your chips, massive amounts of them. And here's the part that might actually surprise you. You're already in this too. Nvidia already holds an investment in OpenAI, billions of dollars, before this guarantee was even on the table. Wait, so same handful of companies showing up as the supplier one moment, the investor the next, and now possibly the financier after that? Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. You're not just backing one customer anymore. You just realize you're standing inside a much bigger web, and every single thread in it somehow leads back to you. Okay, take a step back with me for a second, because this isn't just about you anymore. It's not just about OpenAI. It's not even just about Oracle or Microsoft. Look at the whole industry, and the numbers get a little hard to even believe. In 2026, a small group of companies, Nvidia, Oracle, Microsoft, Amazon, and a few others, borrowed a huge amount of money together just by selling bonds, over $180 billion, just for AI. That's more than 10 times what they borrowed the same way just 1 year before. Yeah, 10 times. Let that sink in for a second. But here's the thing. It's not only about borrowing money. Connecting dots. Those same companies, they're the 5 biggest names building AI infrastructure right now, and together they're on track to spend over $1 trillion just in the last 2 years. $1 trillion from basically one small group of players. Now, here's the part that should really make you stop and think. One of the world's most respected financial institutions, the Bank for International Settlements, has pointed something out. They're saying this spending is growing faster than the actual money coming back in. So why does that matter? Because if more money is going out than what's coming in, someone, somewhere has to fill that gap. And you're starting to wonder, could that someone be you? Wait, quick pause. You might be thinking, OpenAI is getting investment money and also asking for a loan. Why both? Simple. OpenAI isn't picking one. It's taking money from everywhere it can get. Investment, loans, now guarantees too. Different names, same purpose. Keep the cash flowing. But it all adds up to one number. How much OpenAI owes and how many people are betting on it to pull through. So is that dangerous? Don't guess. Look at what already happened to someone else in this exact spot. Oracle, remember them? The company with that massive contract to power OpenAI's data centers? S&P, one of the world's biggest credit rating agencies, downgraded them just weeks ago. The reason? Not bad numbers, not a scandal, just too much dependence on one customer, OpenAI. Read that again. Oracle didn't lose money, didn't break any rule. They just leaned on one company too hard, and that alone was enough to spook lenders. Now, back to you. If Oracle got hit that hard just for being close to OpenAI, what happens to you once your name is stapled to a promise that could end up being twice the size? Remember that $500 billion we talked about earlier? Side note, lighter conversational, stepping outside the story for a moment. Side note, Oracle's actually been through something like this before, decades ago. Different story, just as brutal. Want that one too? Drop it in the comments. Now, before you panic, take a breath. Because here's something you need to know. This exact pattern, it's not new. You know history, and if you look closely, you'll notice this isn't the first time an entire industry got caught up in something this big. Back in the 1840s, Britain went all in on railways. Everyone believed it. This is the future. And they weren't wrong. Railways did change everything. But underneath all that excitement, something quieter was building, something that took years for anyone to notice. Then came the year 2000. Different technology, same belief. The internet changes everything. And it did. But right underneath that belief, the same quiet thing was building again. Here's what should really unsettle you. There's an organization called the BIS. Most people have never even heard of it, but it's actually the Bank for International Settlements, the institution that watches over the entire global financial system. And they're looking at what's happening with AI right now and calling it the exact same pattern. Not fraud, not a scam. Nobody did anything illegal in either of those stories. Just one quiet question sitting underneath all of it. A question nobody wanted to ask out loud until it was too late. And that's exactly what most people watching this video still don't realize. Alright, let's come back to you. You're still sitting in that chair, Nvidia's chairman, staring at a decision worth up to $250 billion, maybe more once you count the chips too. And here's the quiet question, the one nobody wants to say out loud. It's not, will OpenAI succeed? It's not even, is this fraud? It never was. The real reveal is this. Does the money actually coming in, the real revenue, the real usage, the real growth, ever catch up to the money going out? Because if it does, this becomes one of the smartest bets in business history. But if it doesn't, every company that leaned on each other, you, OpenAI, Oracle, Microsoft, all of you feel it. Not because anyone lied, not because anyone cheated, just because you were all standing closer to each other than anyone realized. So remember that number most people clicked on to watch this video? $500 billion? So now you know. The $250 billion isn't the real story. The $500 billion isn't either. The real story was always this. How close is too close when everyone's fortune depends on everyone else's? You're not just running a chip company anymore. You're holding one of the threads that the entire industry is now hanging from. Would you still say yes? And that's where we'll leave it for today. If you learned something from this video, if it actually made you understand how money really moves in situations like this, then this is exactly the kind of video that deserves a like. This channel is just getting started. No shortcuts, no fluff, just deep research-backed stories like this one. And to keep building something like that, we genuinely need people like you to invest in this channel early. Not just subscribe, actually stick around and be part of it from here. And if you want to see the same kind of breakdown for a completely different industry, how Rockstar Games can make $1 billion in a single hour and still not touch most of it, that story is on the screen right now.